We're at the high of the day right now. We need that push. 492.40 breaking, $3,000 on this day. Guys, $1,400 right now. Meta still having some resistance at that 475 mark. Has room to fall all the way back down towards around 470. Let's talk about everything in detail to make sure that you guys are all good. So starting on off, what is happening with this market? Well, last night we had the trifecta come on out. And you might say, Deck, what in the world is the trifecta? Well, the trifecta is saying the earnings report. The earnings report right here. Thursday, after close, Apple, Amazon, Meta. These three companies alone make up over 12% of the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is essentially the stock market. These three companies make up 12% of that. And guess what we saw yesterday? We can take a little bit of a step back, go back to about a 5-minute time frame, and you could see Meta went bananas. Meta went absolutely ballistic. Meta went all the way from $395 and has spiked all the way up to $466. Are you kidding me? Talk about a huge rip. Talk about a huge run. Talk about a huge spike here. That is absolutely insane. Then we saw Amazon. Amazon also came out with good earnings, where Amazon went all the way from $158, spiked all the way up towards the price of $175. This was absolutely insane to see. This was absolutely wild to be seeing at this time. So we could see Amazon with this huge rip, this huge run, this huge pop. Now, what else did we see? Well, we also saw Apple come out with its earnings. Now, Apple unfortunately did not do as well as Meta. But are you kidding me over on Meta? Are you kidding me? I mean, traders, this is one of the biggest spikes we have seen this year. I mean, it probably is the biggest spike we have seen in 2024 so far. Meta started getting all this hype and excitement. Now, why is that? Well, because Meta is now going to start paying out dividends. Now, what does that mean? It basically means every single quarter or every single whatever setup they have, they are going to give back either money or in shares to say a thank you for holding our company. So that is what was happening on why Meta went on such a big spike. Now, I actually said this last year. I said, I think Meta is going to be one of the best companies going into 2024. You could see this company is starting to get a lot of hype, a lot of momentum, a lot of action. I'm saying like this company, like it's not already one of the biggest companies in the world. Meta shares surged 17% in pre-market trade after announcing first ever dividend. Meta shares jumped about 17% in US pre-market trading on Friday after the company reported a tripling of profits, fourth quarter, issued, and a first ever cash dividend. What? Let's go. So we can see how well this is moving. We can see how great, Meta is getting this climb and getting this move and rip and run on up. But I posted on my Twitter earlier, traders, and it's, kind of me saying it in more of a fun manner here. I said, honest question, everyone. Should the stock market really be up this high with every single stock hitting record highs, it seems like? Or are we all delusional at this moment and this will never hold? What do you guys think at this moment? Type it out in the chat room. Are we delusional up in here? Or is this market actually this good? Let's take a little bit of a step back. Let's go over to the daily chart here, okay? Now, when I take a look over on this chart, let's see, does this look like a normal, healthy chart? You guys tell me, okay? Let's switch on over. Here's a monthly chart. Meta now has gone from $91 and has gone every single month except for 3 months for the last year and a half. Green, 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 and now we just gapped up $57. We're gonna be opening up here. That's pretty crazy. When I think of the stock market, guess what I think of? I think of a little green, I think of a little red. I think of a little green, I think of a little red. I think of a little green, I think of a little red. I think of a little green, I think of a little red. I think of a little green, I think of a little red, right? That's kind of what we think of in the stock market. It's kind of crazy to think that our market right now is straight up on Meta. That's kind of nuts. Let's go over and look at a different play. What about NVDA? NVDA, does this look like a healthy, normal stock? Traders, right now, this looks almost like a penny stock. It almost looks like NVDA is a penny stock at this moment because we are going straight up out of the board. We are going from 686 and basically spiking straight on up to 637. I mean, yes, I'm not an NVDA hater. I understand the artificial hype. I understand why they're doing so well. NVDA is going crazy. If you don't know why, they are a chip maker. They produce these little tiny chips. Now, why is that important? Well, because these chips are made and you program them for artificial intelligence. So basically, it's like selling shovels to everyone to the gold rush, where a whole bunch of East Coasters moved out west way back in the day because they heard there was gold there. Now, yes, some people did find gold, but who really made the most amount of money? The people that were selling shovels to all the people that were looking for the gold. That's who the people made money on. Same exact thing with the artificial intelligence hype. Artificial intelligence, oh, who's going to be able to build the first ever amazing artificial intelligence? NVIDIA is like, yeah, who's going to build it? Come on, you guys want to build it? Buy my chips. So everyone's trying to figure out how to have this amazing artificial intelligence, right? That's what everyone's trying to do. But guess what? NVDA right here, it's going on a big spike, big spike, big spike, big spike, because it's just selling the chips out, selling the shovels. Go find your gold and you're good to go. Now you might say, hey Deck, why is Meta moving up so well with NVDA? Well, Meta is actually the biggest consumer of NVDA chips because they're working on their metaverse, right? The metaverse where they are basically going to say, all right, everyone, strap in your goggles right here. Strap in, and we're living in this digital world at this point. That's what they're trying to, eventually form. So guess what's happening? They are buying all these AI chips from NVDA. Now the S&P 500 at this moment has already gone on this absolutely crazy explosive move, right? We need to think about this right now, traders. We know that the S&P 500, when we take a look over the last few days, last few weeks, we have gone on this huge rip and run. This is the SPY, the top 500 companies in the stock market. When people say the stock market, this is what they're referring to, okay? The big question is, how much higher do we have left? The SPY has obviously been on this crazy spike and rip and run, but I already told you guys a bajillion times, I would like to see 500. 500 is going to be a super strong psychological number, which is going to be very difficult to break and usually always going to be the best area for a reversal. So for instance, we can take a look over on NVDA. You can see this red line. What does this red line represent right here and right now? You guys can see right here, we hit 483, we fall on down. You guys can see we come up to 500, we fall on down. Hit 500, we fall on down. Here's 500, we fall on down. 500, we fall on down. When we break 500, boom, we get this excitement. We get this rip, we get this run, we get this pop, we get this move. When we get the break of 500, that's where we get all this action. We can also get rid of all of these indicators if we want to, and we can basically just say to ourselves, hey, it happened once we finally got the squeeze. When we finally got the squeeze, that's where we got the breakout. That's where we got the rip. That's where we got the run. So what we really need, I think, on the S&P 500 is going to be something similar. Where do I think we're at on the S&P 500? I think, really, to be honest with you, we're like right here. We are going to most likely have some sort of big pullback at around that 500 region. Then guess what's going to happen? We're probably going to hit 500 sometime in the future and fall, sometime in the future and fall until we build higher lows. Higher lows are the best way to know that we'll get a big time breakout. Same exact thing when we take a look at Meta. Meta here, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think the target is? The target is going to be 500. When we get up to 500, that's most likely going to be the best reversal area. So $1, $5, $10, $50, $100, $250, $500. These are very strong psychological numbers that are very tough to be able to break and very tough to be able to keep on going higher and higher and higher. So that's what I want you guys to realize. Meta, I still think we go up to 500. 500 today, let's not get carried away. But I'm saying 500 over the next few days to maybe over the next few weeks. When I take a look over on the S&P 500 here, team, I still think there's a little bit of love in the tank. So why is the S&P 500 having this pullback right now? At 8:30 today, they came out with job numbers. And they saw that the layoffs in jobs right here, team, has been the most we have had since 2009. Yes, that is correct right there. About a 186% increase since last year. So why is that so kind of scary and so kind of disturbing? Well, because people are nervous that, okay, job layoffs, that could lead towards a recession. So all of a sudden we saw this and people are saying, okay, we're at record highs. We are spiking up extremely high, and now we're starting to get all these job layoffs. People are getting a little bit nervous. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying, okay, we're going to fall into a recession today, but I'm just saying that is why the market is getting its turn. So what's so kind of odd about this? What's the mixed message? Well, the mixed message is we just came out with good earnings on Meta, good earnings on Amazon. The stock market's up at record highs, but now we're getting this bad jobs data, which now people really don't know how to react. So how can we trade this day? How can we trade this day? How can we figure out this day? How do we know what's going to be happening next? It is going to be a little tricky. So the best thing that we could possibly do is just try to do some chart reading, be able to break this thing on down and make our lives as easy as possible. Now, when I read the S&P 500, I like to always go back into a 30-minute time frame. And what we can really see at this time, what I've already drawn in the past, is you could see over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, we actually had a perfect dip buy and bounce area. Bounce area, bounce area, bounce area, bounce area, bounce area, bounce area. And then we had bounce area, bounce area. And then we started cracking this mark. Now, we did break back above it, and let's just kind of carry over these lines. I just like to continue to exaggerate these lines. Right now, the SPY is definitely getting a pullback. And then we do have this line. Okay, so these two really aren't helping us at this moment. Sometimes, we might be right next to this area. Sometimes we're right underneath this area. Zach, what would you say at this time? Well, if the S&P 500 spiked up to this blue line, I do know that old support is going to be holding up as new resistance. So if the S&P 500 does pop right at the start of the day, a perfect put contract would be in the 490s, high 490s. As we hit this mark, start getting a little bit of rejection. We are having ourselves a nice little SPX play trying to move itself back on up here. Guys, I'm going to actually jump in on my first entry over on SPX. I'm going to do my first entry, only 2 contracts, and maybe add as we start moving back up to the VWAP. Don't want to go big whatsoever today. Don't want to go big right now. Slow and steady. See if I'm again on the right side of momentum. So I'm only doing 2 contracts. February 6th, 4,900. And I just want to see if we do get another green candle. If we don't, I'm going to keep my loss as tight as possible. Max stop loss I'm going to take right here is 250 at most. 250. 220, because again, I want to make sure when I come out on top keeping it nice and tight right here. It's not doing exactly what I want, keeping things very, very small. What did Meta just get up to? 475.95. Ooh, I like that number. I really do. Meta 475.95. That's a good solid number right there, possibly going to be the high. I'm actually going to jump in right here at this moment, get 150 shares on the short side. See if we can, start getting a little bit weaker. If we start breaking 475.95, I'm getting out right away though. Okay? Does that make sense? I am basically saying I like the number 475.95. If we break that, getting out right away, not going to keep on holding, not going to be worth it for me. So I am watching, basically my stop loss is that high and I'm out. Stop loss was my high, I'm out of that play. Now, I have taken 2 losses so far here. I am looking for Meta to be able to turn and reverse and be able to get that big time dump. I'm trying to be able to figure out where exactly is going to be that high over on Meta. Meta's a beast right now. I don't want to be going against, this highway. That's why I didn't even do an option contract. I did shares on that play, trying to keep it as tight and small and reasonable as possible. How high can this one go up to at this point? We have gone from 393 and we have spiked all the way up towards 477. Right now, we're on about an $83 spike. Now, the big thing that we know that is coming on up is that Meta is going to have $500 resistance in the next $25, just like NVDA did. When we take a look over on NVDA, we know that this play came up to what price to start off with? 480, then it had a very big pullback. Here we came up towards, again, 480, very big pullback. You can actually see right here, 500, very strong pullback. 500, very strong pullback. What area right here? 475, very strong pullback. So do I think we will get a pullback? The answer is yes. We're not going to go up forever. That's impossible. But, seeing a $100 spike almost, I do think we could possibly fall back down into the 460s. I do think we could easily, get some sort of drop, but it's going to be tough to be able to nail that exact high area. I am going to try to be ready for it though. I think I'm going to go Meta, February 9th, and go with in the money 480, put contracts, start with 5 contracts, go from there and see if this thing can, keep on going a little bit more and then start getting that reversal that we'd want. As you guys know right now, I'm going as small as I can. I'm going very tight, very small, because I want to make sure that my winning trade makes up my losing trades. 1 minute until 10 o'clock. Do we have any news? That's really big for us. If we have any news here, 10 o'clock, things could be nuts for us. So what do we have? This week's major U.S. economic reports, Friday, 10 o'clock, factory orders and consumer sentiment. So we do have news at 10 o'clock. We could easily see a spike or a reversal right at 10 o'clock. Everyone stay ready on this. Right now, Meta is starting to turn a little bit. We are starting to see the SPY get a little bit weaker here. I want to see if we are going to get that little push on up. Meta still having some resistance at that 475 mark. Has room to fall all the way back down towards around 470. I'm going to do some put contracts right now over on Meta if it can't get above 475. If Meta does pop itself on up, we are probably going to run on up towards a new high of the day. Here comes, I think, a new high of the day, guys. I think it's going to be a new high of the day. One more final pop, new high of the day, and then reversal on down. SPY is finally starting to turn here, which is good. What's NVDA doing? It looks like Meta's going to have one more final pop, though, to a new high of the day. One final pop, new high of the day coming on up here, and then I think the reversal comes. So I'm actually going to keep on holding this. Meta still going. What a beast over on Meta. I am going to hold this. Probably 480 is going to be my absolute limit, guys. 480 is going to be my absolute limit, but I am going to slowly scale on this as we keep on going here. I'm going to add 5 contracts right here. I'm adding 5 contracts, 15 contracts total in the 477s. Bring up my cost basis a little bit more. If you guys are saying at this point, Deck, you're being crazy. Deck, you're being wild. Deck, you're being a madman right here. Be careful. What am I doing? I understand. Meta just came out with good earnings. I understand Meta did have its first dividend payment. But what am I thinking at this moment? I'm thinking Meta at this time has now gone from $390 to $480. We have now gone on a $90 spike. As much as I like Meta, I'm thinking after nearly a $100 spike, we fall back down $5. We fall back down $10. If we have gone from $390, we could go from $377 and go back down to $369. I don't think after a $90 spike, looking for maybe $5 to a $10 pullback is that unreasonable. I don't think after seeing a $90 spike saying, can we see a $5 drop? Because all we've seen is basically straight up red candles. I don't think that that's unreasonable. Yes, I know that Meta has again positive earnings. Yes, I know that Meta does have dividend payments. Yes, I know that Meta has had a $90 spike. But for me to say we've gone basically straight up without any pullback, I think maybe there's a chance that we're going to see maybe this market fall back on down and we could see a $5 drop on Meta. We might go down towards $469. We might go down to $465. We could see a reasonable pullback, which now I'm up over $1,000 on at this moment. Does that make sense? Am I taking crazy pills here, people? I don't think I am. I don't think I'm taking crazy pills here. I don't think I'm being ridiculous. I don't think I'm being ludicrous here. $1,400. Guys, $1,400 right now. $1,400. Guys, I'm going to take my gains right here. Making $1,000. All right. $1,000 profit right there, team. $1,000 profit. Now I'm up $400 on the day. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going in on SPY here. I'm going in on SPX here. I'm going in on SPX, see if we can break that 490 mark and get that rip and run I want. I want to see if we can actually get it. So I'm watching this very closely here, seeing can we break through that 491 mark. If we can get above 491, it's going to be beautiful for us. So I got 5 contracts right here. Want to see if we can snap 491 and really get that rip and run that I'm looking for. So team, if we can make another $500 plus, we got to see the SPY get above 491. We're at the high of the day right now. We're at the high of the day right now. We need that push. Here's the high of the day. High of the day right now, guys. High of the day right now. High of the day. Break 491. We got 491.03. Guys, we're going here. We're going here. 491 at this moment. We're up 250 at this time. Come on. It's so close to breaking 491 and ripping. That 491 is right there to kind of get that nice little explosion and take on all 491.02, 491.03. Here we go, guys. Nice work, everyone. Congratulations on your gains. We're up 350 at this moment. It's still having trouble at 491. Still having some trouble at 491, unfortunately. Come on, 325, 275. We're at 4. We're right there. If we wanted to, we could just lock in some gains if we can't get above 491. I'm watching 491 closely. Nope, still having trouble. Guys, I'm going to break even right now. I'm going to break even right now if we get a pullback. So we're still having that small little pullback. I am ready to jump back in on this thing, though, at any moment. Can we get above that 491 mark? It is getting back above that 491 mark at this moment. There's a little bit of that break. We are starting to get a little bit of that squeeze now. A little bit more of that squeeze right now here. I'm actually jumping back in. I'm going back in here, team, looking for that squeeze. And I want to see if this thing can keep on going to 491.50. I think, this is where we could easily squeeze on up and, be able to make $500 plus. The hardest part is holding tight. That's the hardest part of this trade. Right now, we're up $225. Now, again, we're starting to move 250. Let's see if we can keep on going here. So it's like we get these nice pops, but then we always get quick little retracements. That's the issue. We get these quick little pops, but then we get these quick little retracements right back on down, and that's what hurts us. The hardest part of this is holding tight and saying, oh yeah, this is going to work out. A little bit of a pullback here. Gotta see if that 491 mark's still gonna be able to hold. Don't want to be going too much into the red whatsoever. Not worth it for me. Not worth it for me, team. Back into the red on the day, down 400 now. So I was down 400, up 400, back down 400 right now. So the SPX right here, team, is trying to move. I do want to jump back in on this play and see this play, go on this rip and run. Can we get a little pullback, though? I don't want to just jump in right now. I think this thing is going to continue to push. Look at this thing go. I'm jumping back in on this play. I'm jumping back in. I just can't miss this. I can't miss this if this thing keeps on going to like 492.50. I want to see if this play, again, keeps on going up towards like 492.50 at this time. I am up a good chunk of change, though, at this moment, which I am, very happy about. I just want to see if we about to spike on up towards new highs and go up to like 492.50. I'm doing 5 contracts at this moment. 5 contracts, seeing if we can squeeze and push ourselves on up. Don't want to get caught up in any sort of pullback. Right now, traders, I'm still watching this move for that break of that 492.22 mark and take on off. Let's see if this thing can keep on pushing. Come on, get back on up there. There we go. Up $2,000 right now. Up $2,000 at this moment. Can we again push on up above that 492.33 mark? As long as there's green candles, let's go! Let's go! As long as we have green candles, guys, we are still good to go. Green candles are making our lives happy. Right now, traders, we're still pushing on up. We're currently up $1,900. Ooh, a little bit of a pullback here. 2,000 bucks. Taking some gains right here at the 229.30. Let's go, guys. $2,100 right there on that trade. This is still building. At any moment that we could see another big green candle. At any moment, this could be another big green candle all the way back on up towards, again, that 492.50 mark. It looks like it wants it. It does look like it wants it. I'm getting ready to pull the trigger again. I'm going in again for a new high of the day push. I'm going in again for a new high of the day push. If it does not work out, though, I'm getting out. But right now, team, if I can push myself up towards like 3 grand on this day, I'm going to take it. So let's go. Push on up towards, again, 492. We just hit a new high, but let's go 492.40s. 492.40s, 492.50. We're hitting. Come on, let's break that. 492.40 break. 492.40 breaking. We're up $2,500 right now. I'm just going to take my gains when I have it. Keep adding. I just made another $400. Next bounce play, 491.83. 491.80-ish area. Here comes a little bit of a pullback right now. We're going to be looking for a bounce play in the 490 low 80s. A little bit lower. We go a little bit lower. 83. Boom. Pulling the trigger here, team. Jumping back in. Jumping back in right now. Jumping back in right now. Seeing if we get that quick little dip buy back on up towards 492. Taking gains around 492. Just again, if I can make another $200, $300 profit, that's where I want. Another $200, $300 profit is the goal. Come on. Let's go up towards, again, 492. There we go. Starting to move ourselves on up. Let's get back up to 492. Guys, we're up over 2 grand on the day. Taking my gains right here. Now we're up over $2,100 on the day. Now, again, another scalp play, guys. Now up over $2,197 on the day. Just doing little scalps like that. Gotta see if that 491 mark is still gonna be able to hold. I'm gonna keep my loss as tight as possible. Right now, Meta is starting to turn a little bit. I'm adding 5 contracts, 15 contracts total. I'm getting ready to pull the trigger again.